If you missed your court date for a criminal case, you are probably feeling stressed right now. So let's talk about what to do and how to take care of that. My name is Veronica. I am a criminal defense attorney here in Los Angeles, and I help people who have been arrested put their criminal cases behind them so that they can enjoy their lives and their freedom. And in this video, we are going to be talking about, again, what to do if you missed your court date in a criminal case. Now, I get calls from people who missed their court date either recently or a long time ago, all the time. And the stress in their voices, it's almost palpable. So I'm making this video so that I can answer questions that I answer for them, whether they hire me or not, and help out the people who are feeling that stress of having missed court and wondering what is going to happen. So there are 3 things that you're going to need to do if you missed your court date. So the first thing is that you need to obviously contact your lawyer. Now, if you have a private criminal defense attorney, hopefully you've done this by now, and I'm sure that that person, when you miss court, was probably blowing up your phone. But sometimes, I've even had this happen with my own clients where I'm like, where are you? Why are you anywhere but at the court right now? We have court. I know I told you. What will happen is sometimes something happens with their phone. Sometimes there's some kind of emergency. So call your attorney right away, whether it's the public defender or whether it's a private attorney. If it's a private attorney, hopefully they get back to you immediately and are relieved that you are alive and contacting them and that they can take care of this for you. If it's the public defender, make sure that you stay on this with their office, especially sometimes they'll reassign you. Make sure that you just keep following up. Your job is not to just call them and leave a message. Your job is to actually get in touch with them. So keep doing it, keep calling, be persistent until you actually speak to someone. Now, you may be saying, well, Veronica, it was my first court date though. I missed my first court date. Do I have a lawyer? Should I still contact the public defender's office? Okay, so if you missed your first court date, then no, you don't have a public defender assigned, because when you go to court at your first court date, that's when they would give you the public defender. So what you're going to need to do then, it's okay, what you're going to need to do then is call the clerk's office of the courthouse and ask them, tell them you missed your court date, and ask how to get the case placed on calendar. Now, all of this stuff you need to do immediately. So if you just realize, oh my gosh, I calendared this on my phone for the wrong month, or, oh, I thought I made a calendar event and I didn't, nothing's up. Okay, so just do this right away. Whether it was yesterday, whether it was today, whether it was last month, do this right away. Okay, so you're going to tell the clerk's office what happened and ask to have the case put on calendar. Ask how you do that. Now, the clerks sometimes are a bit testy. They're like that with me too. They're like that with all of us. You know, they deal with these calls all day. Their jobs can be stressful. They're trying to do other things and the phone is ringing. Again, your job is not to just make the phone call and then say, oh, they didn't tell me. No, your job is to actually get this information. If you're unable to do it, if you call, they don't give you any information, they say, oh, you've got to come into the courthouse, that's okay. What you're going to need to do then is we're going to shift on to number 2, which is you are going to need to go to the courthouse as quickly as possible. Not as quickly as convenient. You should be in there the next day unless you're in the hospital or a loved one, unless some really dire circumstances are here, you should be going in the next day. It is really important that you do that. And there are some exceptions, like, for example, if you missed your court date 2 years ago, your attorney, if you have a private attorney, may tell you, hey, let me try to contact the DA first, see what's going on, see if they would oppose you being at OR, which means you wouldn't pay bail, or let's make sure that we have, we'll get to this in number 3, a bail bondsman there. Okay, so listen to your attorney if your attorney tells you something differently, but in general, you're going to want to get in there the next day. If you have an attorney, of course, they're going to instruct you. It will be a lot easier for you. So if you had a public defender maybe initially and then you missed a court date after you'd been to court, they'll give you instructions. Private criminal defense attorney should make it pretty easy, just tell you exactly where to show up. But if it was your first court date, you need to get to court early. Get there in LA. The courthouse is generally open at 8 a.m. You need to be there at 8 a.m. and you need to go to the criminal clerk's office. Make sure you have your ID with you. If you have anything with the case number, bring that with you. Explain to them what happened and ask to be put on calendar. Okay, on calendar means that they're going to send you to a courtroom. So probably the courtroom you were supposed to go to initially. They're going to send you to that courtroom, and there you will get a public defender. Okay, so you'll check, they'll tell you go to whatever, Department 1, go there, check in with the bailiff, the same as you would have for any other court date. And you might be waiting a while, but they will give you a public defender, and that person will help you. If you have a good reason for why you missed court, like there was some kind of emergency, maybe there was a car accident, things happen, bring proof of that. Bring as much proof as you can, because let's go to number 3. Number 3 is that what could happen is the judge could require you to post bond in order to get out. So in order to not be taken into custody that day. So let's say you don't have an excuse. You just say, let's say you were just totally honest and you just said, you know what, I just never wrote it down. I didn't think it was important. Or, you have just really nothing. The judge may give you a second chance, but, and hopefully you can come up with a better excuse, or your lawyer can, but the judge may require you to post bail. So for a felony, that is, baseline felony, not all that serious, 273.5 as a felony, that's felony domestic violence. Typically it's going to be $50,000. If it's a misdemeanor, you're looking at more like $20,000 to $30,000, and typically you have to pay between 8 to 10% of that to a bail bondsman. So what you will want to do is call a bail bondsman in advance, work things out with them, figure out, hey, can I qualify? Do I need a cosigner? How much would I actually have to pay? Can I do a payment plan? You want to figure out all of that stuff with them beforehand, just in case the judge says you are going to need to post bail. And I mean, one other option, so I've had clients where they just didn't have the money to do that, but we were able to, in lieu of them actually going into custody, I was able to contact the DA beforehand, make sure I got a copy of the police report and all of that, and could prep the case as much as possible. And then I was able to get them a deal that same day that didn't include going to jail. So even though they didn't post that bail, they still didn't go to jail. They just had to, I think in that case, they got probation on something that could be expunged and had to do some classes. So actually, in that case, I more than paid for myself because my client didn't have to post bail. And sometimes that can happen with a private criminal defense attorney. So I would encourage you, if this happened to you, especially if it was a while ago, and let's say you only have, let's say it was a 273.5A charge, which is, again, this is the felony domestic violence charge, and you're like, well, okay, but I only have, $4,000 or $3,000 to my name. That's all I can come up with right now. What should I do? Should I just wait for longer and save up money? I would encourage you to contact criminal defense attorneys, get some free consultations, and see if they think that maybe they'd be able to resolve it in that one day. See what they think your chances are of perhaps being released OR, depending on who the judge is in the case. I mean, I know that some judges, I know which judges I'm more likely to be able to get to release my client OR if they missed court. Now, if this happened like yesterday, you probably don't have to worry about a bail bondsman if you get in like the next day. This is more like if it's been a while. You also may be wondering, well, look, like I did post bail originally, but then I missed my first court date, and then I never went back, and it's been a year. So I already posted, I don't have to post again. No, that means that your bail, your original bail, first of all, you probably have been hearing a lot from the bail bondsman if you didn't show up, but that means that your original bail is not going to count. This would be a new bail. So even if you originally posted bail, you could end up having to either repost or post more. So don't think that that's necessarily going to save you or that doesn't count. And if you have questions about that, really talk to a criminal defense attorney. You can talk to me. My contact information is down below. You can book a consultation with me if you have a case in LA County, but just call. We all give free consultations. I hope that this helps. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me.